Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live. Talk radio without the static. Email your questions and comments to lynncullenshow@gmail.com. And now your host, Lynn Cullen.
Howdy, hello, and you think the audio was bad yesterday or today or whatever? I got roofers on the roof right over my head. Yeah, they told me they'd try to be quiet, but I don't know how that's going to go. Guys, it is what it is, and I, again, thank you for putting up with it and with me. It is Thursday, last show of this week, and I can't say I'm unhappy about that because Thursdays are my Fridays, and I always feel just a little lighter knowing I don't have to pay as much attention to the horrors of the news of the day. You know, speaking of news, I again happened to have the TV on when the network news came on, and this was on NBC yesterday, and I know I've said this before, but I cannot get over what has happened to network news. I'm talking about ABC, CBS, NBC. Although I have to admit, I've seen all three. I'm not so sure about ABC. I don't even know these anchors anymore. I don't know. It's the content. Just mind-blowingly crap. Just unbelievable abdication of journalistic standards of what a network, 30-minute network news show should be reporting. Unbelievable. It's craven, it's shallow, it's ambulance chasing, it's all about catching eyeballs. It's all about instilling fear, telling you, it's what my gripe was against local television news for decades. That it's, ambulance chasing mostly. It's easy. Fires, storms, airplanes crashing or almost crashing, fights, anything with some good video, local stories that would only be local stories but that might have some salacious or, again, good video, make it onto a network newscast. It's just unbelievable. And the obvious tiptoeing around covering what network news used to cover back in the day, our government, its policies. Very little of that to be seen, and when it is seen, it is, again, extraordinarily shallow. I don't know how the current crop of journalists, and in order to get up to that level, you have to have some skill as a journalist. I wonder how they stand it. I've wondered that about local news people too. I wondered about it when I was doing it, but then I got out. But when I look back, I happen to be laboring in a golden age of local television news. We did try seriously on occasion, but I watched as the amount of time allowed for a sound bite, how long a talking head could be talking, diminished and diminished more and diminished more, so that you could do, let's say you interview the mayor for 10 minutes. If more than 12 seconds gets on the air, that would be, extraordinary. So, I don't know. Do you guys watch that stuff? I just want to say it's a waste of your time unless you want to be in touch with what people who are out of touch are thinking is news. I don't know how else to describe it. Jeez. Yesterday, I recall trying to respond in some way to what I had seen that our president had put out about his complaints about the Smithsonian and how he had said something about slavery not being so bad. Well, there's more coverage of that today, as obviously there should be, but it is almost impossible to believe that and that I'm saying that is absurd, because of course nothing's impossible to believe now. It's all over. It ain't what it was. So that we can have a president now saying the Smithsonian is out of control. What's going on? Are you not hearing me? I'm not getting city paper. Is that true for, I don't know, guys. I don't know. I give up. Let me get a caller in here. Hello.
Hello, Lynn. How are you? You don't sound happy.
I'm not. I am so pissed and distraught and annoyed, and, well, the list could be endless. Why? Are you happy-go-lucky?
Well, currently I'm sitting on a wilderness mountaintop in a wonderful little cottage overlooking a pristine lake and miles of wilderness.
You know what?
Mountains.
Let me tell you about that. That's akin to these young folks now. If they're having a good time somewhere or eating a good dinner, taking a picture of it and putting it out there on social media, essentially to say, hey, look at me. Nah, 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 nah. Right? Ain't that it?
Well, in a sense, yes.
Yes.
I mean, I will admit that what I'm doing here is a ultimate form of escapism. No question about that. Sitting here and listening to balloons call stuff and coyotes howl, you're just in a different place, And I think I've told you before, my wife and I, living here in the Adirondacks, believe that we live in the land that time forgot. A lot of the stuff that's going on simply doesn't exist here. It's kind of weird.
It'll come for you. It will come for you. There's no getting away while you're out there pretending it ain't happening. I mean, I don't know. It's happening. Where I live,
believe me,
people are being, disappeared and things like that. So how can you so comfortably absent yourself?
Well, believe me, I am aware of what the hell is going on here. It's beyond belief, have to explain to some of the younger folks, when they say, why are you so upset about this stuff? And, I said, hey, when I was growing up your age, back in the 60s, we fought for a lot of stuff. And for a while there, we thought we had actually accomplished a lot of stuff. And it is really just soul crushing to see all of that stuff just being either ignored or vilified or.
We thought
No,
we
believe me.
won. We thought we won the culture war. I mean, just a few years ago, we thought, well, it's over. And it's why these idiots are so angry because we won. Yeah, well,
Right.
I don't think so. It's what I was about to talk about, which is, this current president of ours actually saying that he was pissed off because the Smithsonian has exhibits saying how bad slavery was.
Yeah. Well,
That was a
yeah.
critique.
Okay.
So he wants an exhibit on how good, I guess, slavery was. I mean, it is. It's unthinkable. It's gone. It's over. So I guess there's not enough. If we all come to where you are, in Pleasantville, Adirondacks, it won't be Pleasantville anymore. If you were wise, you would shut the fuck up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well,
don't
thank
advertise
God. Thank goodness. Over half of the land in the Adirondacks is public land, protected as forever wild. So there's very little room for development up here.
But this administration is whittling away at public lands. I don't know that it'll be public lands under them. It'll be developed because there's money to be made.
It's protected. It's actually enshrined in the New York State Constitution, and the only way it can be overturned is two successive terms of the legislature, and then put to a public vote. And
but you're assuming
you're
assuming this is a nation of laws.
Mm-hmm. Well, New York State is perhaps a little more committed to that than other states.
Well, I don't, but we have a federal government now that is quite willing to use the full power it possesses, including military power, to tell smaller jurisdictions, cities, and I suspect states what they can do. Would you be surprised if in a few years' time that's exactly what's going to happen?
No.
Would you be surprised by federal troops in Albany, never known how to pronounce it, terrorizing the New York state legislators?
No, I wouldn't.
Well, then.
I wouldn't. Anything is possible.
Yeah.
But to your thing about the Smithsonian and slavery.
Yeah.
My current kick right now about history. 20 miles from my house where I live. I don't live on the mountaintop. I only spend about a month and a half here. There is this unknown museum. It's called the Six Nations Museum. It's a story of the Iroquois Confederacy. Mm-hmm. Do you know? Are you aware that the founding fathers invited the chiefs of that confederacy to help them make the U.S. Constitution based on their Constitution that they formed in 1152? Are you aware of that?
Hey, no. And if Donald Trump has his way, no one will ever be aware of that again.
Yeah.
No. So wait.
Exactly so.
So no. So that's curious and wondrous. And tell me more. I mean, was there a specific founding father who made that outreach? Was there a meeting or meetings?
Oh yeah, Ben Franklin and George Washington.
Ben and George, two of my favorites. Yeah. Really.
Ben was smitten by them tremendously. He,
that guy.
he was well. The Iroquois Confederacy. It was 5 Indian nations in New York, in the area now called New York State, separate tribes that were constantly at war with one another. And eventually they decided, well, this is really dumb. So they banded together and formed a confederacy or union called the Haudenosaunee, means people of the Longhouse. And the way they structured their government was there would be, for lack of a better term, and I don't remember what they called it, but a grand council, okay?
Mm-hmm. Legislature.
And then, if you will,
yeah,
that supervised the whole thing, but each of the tribes was able to conduct their own tribal life without interference from the central council, as long as what they did not violate their constitutional premises.
States'
and
rights. Yeah,
exactly.
Well, yeah.
Exactly.
So wait a minute. You did say one thing though that I can't get out of my. Did you say that their constitution, this federation, existed since 1152?
1152.
But who would have? Here's my question. In 1152, there were no Europeans in that area, so there was no Gregorian I mean, they didn't. How do we know it was? Who put 1152 on that? You know what I mean? It wasn't 1152 to them.
Well,
and how was it ascertained that was how long ago it was? How many moons?
You may be aware of in many of the Native American cultures, it was word of mouth, and their history, their way of life was passed down. They actually had people in their communities whose, I don't know how to put it, was kind of their job.
Oral historians.
to keep
the history.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So, I mean, we kind of have to take the Indians' words for it. But
okay, absolutely.
It was pegged as 1152.
So after this federation was created, did these tribes actually manage not to fight for all those years?
Yeah.
Wow.
Forever.
Well, that was impressive.
Yes.
And then the white guys came.
Yeah.
Well.
Then the white guys
son
came.
of a bitch.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, they're coming again.
You know, and Franklin pointed that out. That he said, "How isn't I?" Well, I'm paraphrasing now, but he said, "Isn't it ironic that a tribe of ignorant savages,
sure, yeah, that's what he would
put
think.
together a." Well, no, he was using it very sarcastically.
Oh, okay.
The speech in which he delivered this, that was aimed at the colonists, who were like, "You idiots."
Well, it's how those people were
that
perceived, by most,
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And this isn't it ironic that they could put together a way of life that persists to this day? And you know, that's kind of what got him on the bandwagon there. He in Washington. I mean, did you know at Valley Forge, guess who delivered 200 bushels of corn?
I guess the Native Americans.
The Iroquois Nation.
Okay.
The Iroquois nations, the 5 nations.
Did you know that I grew up 1 block from Iroquois Street in Green Bay, Wisconsin?
Really? Well, I used to live in West Irondequoit. Hard to get away from them folks, you know?
Yeah, I mean, most of them in Green Bay were the Oneida Nation, and they still are. And God Almighty. See, but that history, that history is the history that will be wiped out if these sons of bitches have their way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly so. It's you know, I think I'm annoying a lot of people recently at get-togethers. I can't stop talking about this. Did you know?
Are. Oh yeah. Well, but you know, if somebody has a hungry mind, you know, information like that is wondrous, and I thank you for sharing that. I did not know.
Yeah, and just as a just one thing about our government. In I think it was 1970s, perhaps, somewhere around that time, the U.S. Congress did pass a I don't know what the hell they call it, some sort of statement thanking the five nations for their contribution to the founding, founding of the American Constitution.
Wow.
Oh, I'm staring at a buck right in the eye here. There's a buck about 10 yards away from me.
You know what?
My cat is really excited.
You know what's amazing? I'm here in the city of Pittsburgh, and I was staring a buck in the eye, a few weeks ago, and on a city street.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're everywhere.
It's horrible.
Yep.
You see, it's so so out of place, and to see a magnificent wild animal like that on a city street, it's upsetting.
Yeah.
But that's not what you're seeing.
Yep.
Why don't you sick your cat on it?
He doesn't. I think he's a little smarter than that. I'm not sure. But.
Oh God. Well.
But anyway.
Okay. Well, hey, thanks for the call. It was. I appreciated it. Thank you.
Hey, let me put a bug in your ear here.
You mean you haven't already? So wait a minute. You mean this is not why you called? 20 minutes later?
Well.
What?
Well, it's an addendum,
Okay. Well. Okay. Step on it.
So I'm here for five weeks, my wife and I, and we have extra bedrooms, and there's a flight from Pittsburgh to Albany. Get yourself a ticket. I'll pick you up.
That's very nice.
It is, admittedly, yes, it's a bit of an escape, but
sure. But we all need it.
We've just determined, you need it. From time to time.
From time to time.
You just can't live on it.
We can, yes, but we cannot abdicate our responsibilities to be part of a sort of constant resistance to what's happening.
No, I agree.
Okay.
I agree. Maybe next time I call, I'll tell you about my wife. She's an attorney. Mm-hmm. And he took on the federal bureaucracy on a immigrant case and won.
Oh, good.
Well, very interesting.
Glad to hear.
Very interesting.
Okay.
So,
hey, thanks a lot. Enjoy your beautiful situation.
Yes, my sabbatical. Yes.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. Bye.
All right. Bye.
Bye. That, ladies and gentlemen, was, I suspect, a guy who used to call the radio show ages ago, who used the moniker Blovius. All right. I'm seeing your chat for the first time. Today, William says, Wikipedia says the Iroquois Confederacy may actually go back to 1142. Well, that's, I think, what he said, isn't it? Did he say 1142? And Watchman says, I thought that guy was a scheduled guest and I just missed his name. No, that was Blovius, who is, as you can tell, a very erudite man and a very good friend. Friends of two other people who sometimes listen to this program and contribute. Clarence in Canonsburg and Sissy White Liberal, a.k.a. Tom Kovac. So, yeah, nice to hear from him. That was good. So, what I was going to, I can't get past this, where we are at. I just my despair knows no bounds. You know, the Washington Post had an editorial today actually telling people like me who are so upset about Texas gerrymandering to just chill. Might not be any big deal, whatever. And I just feel, again, such despair. So the Washington Post is telling me not just to chill. And Heather Cox Richardson, historian and chronicler of our times, is sharing this with me about that. The new Texas maps, as they have now been redrawn, is helping to erase the representation of minorities and women from the public sphere, and to make it virtually impossible for voters to elect people who will oppose his policies. That's the end game. That's what they're going for. And she points out that the map now, as it exists in a state where 60% of the population is not white. I did not know that. I knew California was a majority minority state, but I didn't know Texas was. And the information she's putting out, and I consider her as trusted a source as there is, says that people of color make up 60% of the population of Texas. But the new maps would put the white people in charge and in the majority of at least 26 of the state's 36 congressional districts. Whites are a minority, but with these new maps, they will have control, if they want it, if they vote their skin color, of the vast majority of the congressional districts of the state, 26 districts out of 36. And she quotes one Texas state representative who's crunched the numbers even more, and said it will take about 445,000 white votes to secure a member of Congress on their behalf. 444, the way these maps are drawn, for just close to 500,000 white people will be able to get representation. But it would take 1.5 million Latino voters, or it would take 2 million black voters to elect a representative. That's when you gerrymander the way they have done, you are trying to decrease the ability of minorities, black and brown people, to elect someone that would represent them, and to give the overwhelming advantage to the white voters. And if these numbers are correct, I mean, that is mind-blowing. And the Washington Post editorial is the crap I thought it was as I was reading it. Unbelievable. Well, I'm glad. So you guys liked Blovius. I'm glad. Well, Blovius, they liked your history lesson, as did I. And I, again, thank you. Thank you for it very much. I want to share with you, I mentioned this yesterday, something that I read. It was very long, although it was said to be an excerpt of obviously something much, much longer. And it was written by a guy who he used to be what was called a conservative Republican. And he was this strange thing in that he was a gay conservative Republican. He was clearly very bright, and I often wished he were more on my side because he was so good at presenting his point. But since the Trumpian era began, this guy, because he was a principled and bright conservative Republican, is now on my side in this fight for this country. And it is a country that he adopted because he was a Brit and he became an American citizen. So for him, this is doubly horrific, what is happening. I'm talking about Andrew Sullivan. And this piece I read by him, so much of what he says is, well, it is what I would say if I could write as well as he. And I'm just taking snippets of this, but even the snippets will prove to be a bit lengthy. So I'm going to suggest that I'm going to read them to you, the snippets, and hope that by having edited him that I haven't totally eviscerated. That's interesting. Eviscerated was a clue in a crossword puzzle I was doing last night when I couldn't sleep. And the clue was eviscerate. And you know how sometimes you know what a word means, but you're all of a sudden, when asked to come up with a synonym for it, you can't think of one, and you start thinking, do I know? And I had to think of, use it in a sentence, and then it'll clarify again what eviscerate is. And the thing is, the synonym, it was just 3 letters. And, okay, you got it? Eviscerate, a 3-letter synonym. Oh, you're so smart. Gut, right? So I'm just saying, I'm sorry, this is obvious. I went off on a tangent here. I hope I haven't gutted Andrew Sullivan's piece to the point where he would want to gut me. Anyway, just sharing some of the things that resonated. He says Trump is psychologically, Mord, you're so smart. He got it right. Gut, he said. Trump is psychologically incapable of understanding anything but dominance and revenge. He has no knowledge of history. He crashes obliviously and malevolently through the ruined landscape of our constitutional democracy. The thing, though, we didn't really know before now is that in the face-off between this man's will to power and liberal democracy would just fold. That's what we're seeing. That's where my despair comes from. In the face-off between Trump and liberal democracy, who would have thunk that as it appears, liberal democracy just stands by. It folds. Sullivan goes on to talk about what he's up to, Trump. The tyrant's first textbook tactic, of course, is declaring an emergency to justify the seizure of arbitrary power. Trump has done that now, over 30 times, 40 times, with his executive orders and directives, and he just declares an emergency, whether it has happened or not, and he takes control, power. Doesn't have to be a real emergency. He just declares non-existent ones real on Truth Social, and presto, they're real. And he knows he doesn't have to bother to justify them, because he doesn't. So America is now one-man rule, which is why I push back on Blovius feeling like he was somehow removed. America is one-man rule now. Resist him, and he'll ruin you. He'll destroy your law firm's business. He'll stop that corporate merger you want. He'll put a tariff on your company or your country. He'll launch a Department of Justice investigation into you. He'll get you fired for doing your job in the government faithfully. He'll sue you if you print something true about him. And if you're a federal judge and you rule against him, he'll sick an online mob and maybe a real mob onto you. He has done all of these things in the last 6 months, and he has openly celebrated them. He unilaterally imposed a 50% tariff on Brazil because he got pissed off that country's judiciary indicted his buddy, another would-be autocrat, Bolsonaro. And Sullivan says, and let's be perfectly clear here, Trump has less than zero constitutional or legal authority to do that. Tariffs are constitutionally the Senate's prerogative. For a president to unilaterally use them as a club to coerce other countries on all kinds of unrelated policies or matters, or on a whim unrelated to anything, that is the definition of an impeachable offense. And yet, what were only a few years ago obviously impeachable offenses are now simply known as the Trump administration. Tyrants also always need to delegitimize the law. It's why I said to Blovius, we are not a nation of laws anymore. So any judicial ruling that is against Trump is instantly deemed political, corrupt. Every ruling for him, of course, is pure justice. He is using the full weight of the Justice Department to target his personal enemies, impugn honest judges, harass dissenters, accuse previous president of treason, and at the same time, he has what? I don't know. Sorry, I went off on that. Going on. He has made a mockery of our justice system. A mockery of it. Promising immunity for criminals, doing his will, pardoning the violent thugs who attempted to prevent the peaceful transfer of power in 2021. The rule of law is now the rule of Trump. The next move a tyrant has to make is to address the discrepancies between his constant lies and the reality on the ground. Trump believes the economy is booming, inflation is dropping, growth is surging. If the data disprove that, the data are wrong. His firing of the head of the Bureau of Labor Statistics is a quite clear signal that there will be no reality outside of Trump's reality in this country. The Federal Reserve will be next. And so the legitimacy of the numbers on which a free society's economy depends to make rational decisions is being dismantled. And alongside all this is an assault on the autonomy of universities, the targeting of law firms, the end of free speech protections, the appearance on our streets of armed, masked, anonymous SS guys with powers to seize anyone they suspect of being an illegal immigrant and detain them, often for long stretches, even if they turn out to be citizens or engaged in perfectly legal activities. This feels like a police state because it is. Only in police states do governments deploy masked, anonymous, armed men patrolling the streets with the power to arrest and detain and even kill. And yet, many Americans shrug. They shrug. They shrug at the construction of vast detention camps. All stand as proof that expediting deportations is not the real goal, by the way. The goal is the presence of an ominous gulag to deter would-be illegals and, as a bonus, to hold over citizens as well. This is classic state terror. The amassing of huge punitive powers answerable only to one man who is by definition never wrong. It was precisely against this kind of power that Americans once staged a revolution. And now Ben Franklin again makes an appearance. Because when he and our other founding fathers made that revolution and wrote our Constitution, Franklin pinpointed the essence of tyranny. It is arbitrary power. And that is what we are seeing Trump wield. That's tyranny. Arbitrary power. That's why we're always saying, this is incredible, or this is unbelievable. Because there is no sane or reasonable argument for suddenly throwing a wrench into the entire economy. There is no underlying principle behind the dizzying tariff rates. There is no rationale for gutting American scientific research or taking the funding away from Myrna vaccine research. It's just a way of Trump to hurt lefties. The random assaults on our longtime allies are the essence of arbitrary absolute power based on nothing but one man's thrill at bullying those he sees as weaker and having them prostrate before him. Look at all of those European leaders we saw in the Oval Office doing just that. Thank you, thank you, thank you, prostrating themselves before him. A tyrant makes it impossible to plan or predict a business or a life out of his control or surveillance. He makes it impossible to get through the day without hearing his name or seeing his face. Tell me if anything I'm saying here is not true. And Trump is fast dismantling all our institutions, the ones that used to be neutral institutions, reality-based research, legal neutrality, economic predictability, all in order to what? Disorient us. Yeah. And in that disorientation, to paralyze us and to paralyze any resistance. Sullivan says the relentless thoroughness of this campaign to end liberal democratic life and replace it with a strongman cult has been staggering. Yeah. And it is why I keep saying, what is going to... We're down to what? Waiting for the Supreme Court to do something? And Sullivan says of that, okay, let's say the Supreme Court unbelievably did tell him, no, you can't. Stop it. Just stop it. What would he do? And Sullivan says the answer to that we already know. He will assault the Supreme Court's legitimacy. He will threaten the justices with violence. He will do what he has to do. He will say the 2026 elections are rigged. If I can't run again, he'll get rid of term limits. If a Democrat were to win in 2028, do you think that Democrat will take office? He goes on to talk about the fact that, no, Trump is an instinctual tyrant. And once somebody like him has tasted this raw, arbitrary power, they never let go. He will use the 250th celebration of our country's history next year as a glorification of his reign. You're seeing him build already permanent monuments redoing the White House, paving over the Rose Garden, cementing that so-called People's House as a palatial symbol of his monarchy. Sullivan ends with this. As the ancient political philosophers predicted, as democracies entered their late chaotic stage, the people want an autocrat. They yearn for an autocrat. And in America, they voted for one twice. The forces we are up against are far beyond Trump. They're called the cycles of history, and a critical mass of the American people who apparently no longer want to govern themselves, who are sick of this republic and no longer want to keep it if it means sharing power with people like us that they despise. Sullivan says this is how a republic dies, if it is still, except on paper, alive. There it is. And I told you I edited it. People are wanting to know where I got that. It's on his, you have to go to his Substack. It's a Substack. I don't know exactly where. I don't even have the exact, invite your friend. The Weekly Dish. The Weekly Dish. Dish at andrewsullivan.com. Okay? Dish at andrewsullivan.com. Yeah. I know that's a lot, and it is, but it's the truth. My God, help us. It's the truth. Yeah. So, when you encounter people who are oblivious or uncaring about what is happening, I hope that you resist the urge to be quiet. I don't know if there's really anything left, to do. We obviously have to keep resisting as much as we can, but I think what Sullivan has done with that is to show us how huge, and as he said, staggering, this takeover right in front of our eyes has been. And so for those of us who are feeling so disoriented, so helpless, hopeless, fearful, it's understandable. But it doesn't give us the freedom to, or absolve us of our responsibility to, in any way we can, at any given moment, fight these fuckers. Well, guys, after that, I think I'm done. I can't. I see I've still got a few minutes supposedly left in the show, but I think I will employ my arbitrary power because, that is more than enough to digest and to connect it anyway. I've just been told I got deep. That's so ridiculous. While I said that, then I lost the signal. The signal went out. I don't know if you realize that. It wasn't long, but it says it's back. Anyway, back so that I can simply say goodbye a few minutes early. And I'll be back on Monday. And I don't know what else to say except my fearful, agnostic, God help us, which I seem to be saying quite a bit. And how quiet were
Lynn
those
Cullen
roofers?
Live, Monday through
Jeez.
Thursday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m.
Amazing.
And archived at
Have a good
pghcitypaper.com.
weekend.
The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper or its advertisers.